have done something shocking. Now heaven knows anything goes.
Wait, hold on. Anything goes? Isn't that what's been happening in America for some time now? I think more and more Americans are waking up to this absurdity, and it shows by the overwhelming response we're getting with new volunteers. We hear and see you believe COS is the solution, as big as the problem. So thank you, and let's keep growing this grassroots army. Our vision is to build a strong, engaged army of self-governing activists, and our mission statement is to restore self-governance by recruiting, training, and deploying citizen activists to engage in all levels of government. So, if you've had enough of anything goes, join us every Monday at 7 p.m. as our state director and host, Dale Parrish, will show you how we can actually make a difference by using the Constitution to save the Constitution and our country. So join us now for Indiana Live.
Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you, Maringo Mike, for that introduction. I want to reiterate what Maringo Mike was saying, and that is to thank all of you for the onslaught of new supporters that we have received here at Convention of States of Indiana. It's not only here in Indiana, but this is happening all across the country in Convention of States. I think more and more people are, in fact, believing and seeing that we are the solution as big as the problem, and that's Convention of States. So thank you again for showing your support and joining us here in Indiana. Now, I want to take some time here at the beginning to kind of set the stage for you this evening, let you know what to expect, and let's get started then. Also, we might as well start here at the beginning. As you know, the broadcast is coming to you through our state Facebook page, Convention of States, Indiana. Well, we're also live streaming now on our YouTube channel, COS Indiana. So there you have an alternative way to view our broadcast. YouTube channel, COS Indiana. Now, while you're at our YouTube channel, be sure to push the subscribe button so that you can be a subscriber to our YouTube channel and be notified of any additions or upcoming items on our YouTube channel. So now I want to make you aware of a new thing that we're offering now, and that's the COS Indiana Live podcast. Now what we're doing is, I just started this past week, and what we're doing is we're taking the audio from our broadcast like we're doing right now, and then I'm putting that out in the form of a podcast. Evidently, there are a lot of people that don't want to see me or don't want to see me talk about this stuff. Or it's not a convenient time for the broadcast, whatever the reason may be. I'm just kidding, of course. But evidently, a lot of people do enjoy listening in a podcast format. So that's what we're going to do. And I started this last week. And the first episode is, in fact, the audio from our May 10th broadcast. So we're now in a podcast format, and you can access the podcast at anchor.fm/Dale-Parish8. I'm sure that there are ways for me to get this site address to you better, and I'll figure out how to do that in time. But right now, you can find the podcast at anchor.fm/Dale-Parish and the number 8. So that should get you there, and you should be able to find the COS Indiana Live podcast. So Let me quickly go through the segments that our broadcast will be brought to you this evening in, so that you know what to expect. And I also, now that we're doing a podcast, I have to remember to say things in a way where someone listening to the podcast and not able to see what we're doing will understand what we're doing. Okay, so this is a little new twist for me too, to learn how to do this. So I'm going to go through the segments, and in our first segment here, this will be what we call the interview segment. And in this segment, we try our best to bring to you leadership individuals from our organization here in Indiana, specifically new leaders. And we are getting an onslaught of not only new supporters, but new volunteers, and many of them stepping forward to take on leadership roles. So we're going to bring to you another one of our new district captains tonight. His name's Gary Ridenauer, District 18 here in Indiana. And we're going to do a little something different tonight with this segment. Gary had to work this evening, so he was not able to be live with us this evening. So last Thursday, I got with Gary and we recorded the interview. So I will be, once I get through the segments here and let you know what's going to happen, then I will play you the recording of the interview I did with Gary. So hopefully that'll work out just fine. That'll be in our interview segment, the first segment. Now, the second segment is what I call the information segment. In this segment, I'll bring up my PowerPoint and will give you an idea of what our vision statement is, mission statement here in Indiana, what our objectives are for 2021, kind of where we stand, what resources we have available. In other words, give you some information about our organization here in Indiana, give you a little peek as to what to expect on our broadcast next Monday evening. So that will be in our information segment. After that segment, then I'll try my best to recognize any comments that we have from viewers. If you are viewing either through the Facebook page or through our YouTube channel, feel free to make a comment or ask a question in the chat section. I'll do my best to get those on the screen here. Keep them brief. Please keep them brief. But we'll do our best to put them up on the screen here. I can see that we're already accumulating some comments, so I'll be getting to those very, very shortly. Now, in the fourth segment, I call this the contributor segment. We have designated certain individuals in our organization as COS Indiana Live contributors. Now, these are individuals that have perhaps strong opinions or like to make comment on certain topics. So I've asked the contributors, I've asked them to give me a pre-recorded short, brief segment on what they want to speak about. So again, tonight, we're going to have a segment from a contributor segment from John Ackerman. We call his contributions John's Journal. So we'll be bringing on John in this segment for the contributor segment this evening. Our final segment this evening is called the invitation segment. And in this segment, we give you a little bit more information about what Convention of States is all about. And then I'm going to actually invite you to join us here in Convention of States in Indiana. And then I'm going to tell you how to go about doing that. So that will be in the invitation segment, and that will kind of wrap things up for us here this evening. So let me then get to our first segment, which is the interview segment. And in that segment, as I mentioned, we have pre-recorded this with one of our new district captains, Gary Ridenauer of District 18. So I'm going to bring that up and start that recording for you. Be back shortly. Well, folks, we're going to get into our first segment this evening, and we're doing something a little bit different this evening. This is going to be a pre-recorded interview. I'm going to be interviewing one of our new district captains here in Convention of States in Indiana. His name is Gary Ridenauer, and Gary has just been coming on very, very strong for us and doing just a terrific job. So I want to bring him up into the screen, up into the studio so that you can meet him, and let's learn what we can about Gary. So let's bring him up. Hi, Gary.
Howdy.
Good to see you, bud. Good
Thanks.
to see you.
Great to be here.
All right. Well, Gary, as I mentioned, you are one of our new district captains in Convention of States here in Indiana. And folks, we have just, as I have mentioned earlier and in previous broadcasts, we have been just bombarded with new volunteers coming into Convention of States. And some of those, thank goodness, are volunteering to be district captains. And Gary is one of those volunteers that has chosen to be a district captain. So Gary, I want to start with identifying the district that you're a district captain of, and that's House District 18. So Gary, tell everyone, give us an idea where House District 18 is located in the state of Indiana.
In the state of Indiana, we're the northern two-thirds of Indiana in Wabash County.
Okay.
Wabash is our largest city. We're about 45 minutes west of Fort Wayne.
Okay.
On State Road 24.
Yep. So if you're in Wabash, Indiana, you're in House District 18, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. Okay. That's where, so Gary's pretty much in the north central part of the state. So very, very good. So Gary, the next thing that I always like to ask volunteers and especially leadership individuals in here in Indiana is to tell us your COS story. Now, not your life story, but your COS story, how, when, where you got involved with Convention of States. So tell us your story, Gary.
Well, I'd been the constitutional coach with Rick Green for several years, and I'd heard Rick and David Barton talking about it. And one Sunday morning, I was sitting on the couch and read something that Rick Green had posted, and it just completely blew me away on this is our way to fight to save the Constitution with the Constitution.
Okay. Tell us a bit about, I wanted to stress this constitutional coach thing that you're involved in. And if I understand it right, you and your wife do this, right?
Correct. Yep.
Right. Now, and I know we have some other constitutional coaches here in the state, those that have been through the Patriot Academy certification. So tell me a little bit, how long have you and your wife been doing this?
About a year and a half, 2 years now. We've been teaching just small little groups in our homes, talking to people out and about the Constitution. So, and we weren't taught this in school. Her and I finally decided we need to teach this. And so we both volunteered to be constitutional coaches with the Patriot Academy.
Okay. Well, I think that's great. That now you touch on the, am I correct? You touch on the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, the Constitution. You go through that, and like you said, this is mainly with small groups, right?
Yeah. Usually it's just a handful, 4 or 5, close friends, husband and wife and stuff like that, or a couple of us get together around the campfire and
Oh, literally around the
Yeah,
campfire?
we literally get around, do the campfire, sit here at our kitchen table, and
Oh, great. Great. Okay.
people are hungry. People want to know. And then it's amazing how many times you hear people go, man, we were never taught that in school. So,
Isn't that amazing?
yes. Yeah.
I think we all have become aware that this is not taught any longer in our school system. Not at least the way it was taught when we were younger.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just amazing the amount of, when you go back into history, grade school kids to go from kindergarten to first grade had to know the Constitution. That was a learning point. That's what they used to go from first grade to second grade. You had to take a test on the Constitution.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
we need to get back to it.
Okay. Well, I think that's great that you and your wife do this, and we want to try and promote this more in our state because we have others that are constitutional coaches, others that have been certified by the Patriot Academy, like yourself and your wife. And I want to find a way to make this known to as many people as possible throughout the state, so that you can so that you can be busy doing this more often.
Yeah.
Because I think it's so important.
It goes hand in hand. Mark Meckler and Rick Green have done a lot of videos together.
Right.
Because I never knew who Mark Meckler was until I got involved with Convention of States, and now it's, hey, these guys are best friends. They're Texans.
So it to make your story to bring it to a point here is through being a constitutional coach that you discovered Convention of States.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. And you saw Convention of States as we like to see the solution as big as the problem, or right?
Yep.
Okay.
And that's what they offered, man. It blew me away. It blew my wife away, and we thought, we've got a solution. We're going to save the Constitution with the Constitution. So
there you go. All right. Okay. Well, I'd like to get now into talking to you about, as we said, you're the new district captain for District 18. Talk to us about then some of your objectives that you've set forth for your district coming up here this year and next year. Okay.
Well, we've started out with bass and bucks.
So growing the grassroots, right?
Yeah, and once we figured out what Convention of States was all about, we thought, we have got to get this out in the community. We have got to teach this and make people aware of it. I wasn't aware of it, even being a constitutional coach. The whole objective of Convention of States. So I got together Fred Dennison, and Fred and I have done a town hall meeting at Bass and Bucks.
Now, Fred Dennison is another district captain. And I can't think of the district that he's a district captain of right offhand. But anyway, and do you how are you and Fred connected? Do you work together, or?
We graduated high school together.
Oh, is that right? Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good. So the two of you have. I know you've already done one presentation at this sporting store. This is a store in Wabash, right? Bass and Bucks.
Bass and Bucks.
And I know you've done two presentations there, right?
Yes. Yeah, we did two of them in one day.
Okay, and so you've got another one coming up. Did you tell me in June, is it?
We've got another one in June 19th and 20th at Bass and Bucks.
At Bass and Bucks. Okay.
And we'll do it 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. on Sunday, 10 a.m. on Saturday.
Okay.
So,
we have found that venues like this, we seem to encounter a lot of like-minded people So I think these are excellent venues for you to take advantage of. So that's Bass and Bucks there in Wabash. Now I know you got another one coming up, right?
Yep, Hillside Shooting Sports in Roanoke. That's May 22nd at 10 a.m. and May 23rd at 2 p.m. on Sunday.
Okay.
We stopped in there, Fred and I did, and they said, man, we would love to have you guys here. And, they're hungry. They want us to, they're trying to save their business. We're trying to promote, protecting the Second Amendment and all of our constitutional rights. So they're gracious enough to let us use their facilities. So we're taking advantage of it.
Excellent. Well, those are two great venues, and and I'll be mentioning both of these later on in the broadcast when I cover upcoming events. So, and I'll be mentioning those every week leading up to those presentations. So we'll try and promote those as much as possible. Now, I think you also have some upcoming festivals in mind, right?
Yeah, we decided we're going to start hitting some of these small town festivals. Rowan Festival, which is the first weekend after Labor Day, we're going to set up a booth there. We've been invited. It's called Clown Town. It's in Peru, Indiana. That's what's called Clown Town.
Oh yes, that's the now I got that connection. Yes.
Yeah. So
the circus town, right?
The circus town. But it's the Clown Town benefits for Riley's Hospital. And
okay.
We are going to set up a booth down there and do a booth there. So, and any other crazy place where my wife decides to send us.
Now, explain to people when you say set up a booth. What do you mean by that?
Just like you'd see at a normal little festival, we've got a tent. 12 by 12 tent. We're going to set it up. We're going to have a table out there. We're going to have all our banners and everything.
So it's an information table that you're there to
information table, and we're going to get out and talk to the public and say, hey, we need your support. We need these petitions signed. And
okay.
So
all right, good. That's another that is another function that we do a lot of at community festivals, county fairs, any type of event where a lot of people gather, and we try gun shows, like you said, shows of that nature. I think you were talking about, wasn't there a cowboy shoot or something festival you were talking about?
Yeah, I believe it's in August. We're been invited up to a single action cowboy shoot. It's a 7-day event. Just west of Warsaw, a little town just west of Warsaw there. We got invited by some of the people that run that. And so we're going to try to make it up there for a couple of days of that and, check out all these single action cowboy shooters.
Now that I have never been to. I've never experienced a festival like that. That ought to be quite interesting.
Yeah, it will be. Might actually get to wear my cowboy hat.
There you go. Again, a gun show of type where once again we find a lot of like-minded people, people that are obviously very Second Amendment oriented, and they want to protect that amendment. All right. Now, another important thing I think I want you to mention is your success that you've had so far with a couple local radio stations. You want to tell us about that? Yeah,
I just went to our radio stations because our first meeting at Bass and Bucks, we thought, man, we didn't get the crowd we wanted. So we decided we were going to hit the radio stations and start advertising. A good buddy of mine recorded a 30-second radio spot for us. You can hear that on 95.9 KISSFM and 105.9 The Bash. They play it 2-3 times a day. We've been lucky enough 95.9 KISS FM actually interviewed Fred and I last Friday. And I just heard it again this morning. We thought it was going to be a one-time deal. And he was so impressed with what we were doing, he said, I'm going to keep playing this throughout the week.
I'm telling you, that is, I think, you talk about getting the word out on Convention of States. What a wonderful way to do that is through radio stations like this. And I've done interviews through our local radio station here in Fort Wayne, WOWO. So have a couple others here locally, and I know we've had another one of our leaders do a radio interview. I hope we can do more of these, because I think it's a great way to reach people.
We grew up hearing, the power of radio.
Right.
I walk into the factory where I work at, and people go, "Hey, I heard you're on the radio. I heard about Convention of States on the radio."
Is that right? That's great.
Because I've been talking about it at work so much, and so it's getting out there. People are, we're waking some people up.
Good. That's what we want to do. All right. Well, let's talk about your state legislators, because one of the main responsibilities of a district captain is to establish a relationship with your state legislators. Now, that's your state representative and your state senator. So, and I know you've had some real good success with your state representative, right?
Yeah. We invited both Andy Zay and Craig Snow to our first meeting. Craig Snow called me the night before and said, "What is this Convention of States?" So I got the opportunity to explain it to him on the phone, and he showed up. Craig had only been in office maybe a month, and so he was all new to the world of Indianapolis.
Folks, you would be amazed. This is an ongoing objective of Convention of States, and that is to educate legislators on what Convention of States is all about, what Article 5 is all about. Now, Indiana is a past state. We passed the resolution calling for a Convention of States back in 2016. Well, legislators have changed. The new legislators have come in, and Representative Snow is a perfect example that you just talked about. And you would be amazed how many of the new legislators that come in have no idea what this is all about. Don't know what Convention of States is all about. Not even aware that Indiana had passed the resolution. So it's an opportunity to educate the legislators on what we're all about. And I think you did a great job here. So I think would you say you made a supporter out of Representative Snow?
We hope so. We're inviting him back to our Roanoke thing, and then we'll invite him back to our next meeting at Bass and Bucks. So I haven't had the opportunity to talk to him since to see, now that he's got his feet wet and through his first state legislation. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
All right. Good job. Well, Gary, I always like to wrap up a interview with a new district captain on the note of self-governance, because it's such an important part of what we're all about. It's a constitutional right, constitutional responsibility to engage in self-governance. And I think you made me aware of a very interesting piece of self-governance that you and your wife were involved in. You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, I've been a volunteer firefighter for over 20 years, several different fire departments, and that's how I met my wife.
And you two met being firefighters, right?
Yeah, we're both. And then I actually thought of something else too. her and I both are members of, it's called the 2A Project, out of Indianapolis. Constitutional attorney Guy Relford runs that out of Carmel, Indiana. And
What's it called again? What's it called again?
It's called the 2A Project.
2A.
And we go down to the State House and show up in our 2A Project shirts to support legislation for our Second Amendment rights.
Ah, okay.
So
2A, gotcha. Second Amendment. Okay.
Second Amendment, yeah.
Excellent. That's another good example. So self-governance, that's what it's all about, folks. You got to get involved. Certainly being part of Convention of States is exercising your self-governance rights and responsibilities. Don't want to take that away from the concept of self-governance, but getting more involved in your local community, state, county, city, whatever it may be. So we always try to stress that. Well, Gary, thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Taking the time to talk to us, and I hope everyone knows a little bit more about you now and what you're doing in House District 18 and the job that you're doing for us here in Convention of States. So
thank you,
and keep up the good work, my man. Thank you.
We sure will. We're excited. We're pumped. We're ready.
All right, good deal. All right, that was our interview with Gary Ridenour. Sorry that went a little longer than we normally go on our interview segment, but Gary is just doing an outstanding job. He's really, really getting with the program, along with Fred Dennison, the other district captain. Don't want to leave him out of this picture, but yes, Gary's doing a great job, and I'm very, very happy to have had him on and get to interview him. I'm going to show just a couple comments that we've already gotten so far, just so people will see. There's Jerry Rowe, one of our SIAs, saying hi to everyone. Susan Lyon, our newsletter editor, also saying hi to everyone. And Jerry's got some other comments here, but I'm going to wait to do those later on. But here's one that Susan wanted to also comment. Welcome and congrats to Gary. Glad to have you on board. So thank you, Susan. Dale Tipton also made a comment here. Dale is our newest region captain, and his comment is, so great to hear about citizen patriots who are willing to defend and support our great Constitution. Very good. Thank you very much, Dale. And Paul Phillips, our legislative liaison, made a comment. You are doing great work, Gary. So good comments for Gary. And as I said, Gary is just doing an outstanding job. So very, very happy to have had him on and able to interview him this evening. All right. Well, I'm going to move on now to our second segment, which is the information segment. And let me bring up the PowerPoint and get that started. So gonna try this view this evening where you'll see me off to the side. Hopefully you'll still be able to see the PowerPoint in a good view. So let me get started here. Our national vision statement is in fact our vision statement for the state of Indiana, and that is to build a strong, engaged army of self-governing activists. Now, our mission statement here in Indiana is to restore self-governance by recruiting, training, and deploying citizen activists to engage in all levels of government. So that's our mission statement here in Indiana. If we accomplish the mission statement, that brings us closer to realizing the vision statement for Indiana. Now, we have some objectives that we're trying to accomplish here in 2021 in Indiana. We want to grow to 70,000 supporters here in Indiana. We are just over 57,000 right now. We want to get to 70,000 by the end of this year. Want to get some more young people involved. We have some young people involved, but we wanted to get at least 10 more volunteers under the age of 30 involved in our organization. Important to get young people involved, as you all know. We want to get to 7 region captains. Now, Indiana is separated into 9 regions. We currently have 5 region captains in place, and we want to get to 7 by the end of this year. And I think we'll be able to get to that particular goal. 40 district captains. Now, Indiana is divided into 100 district captains. Now, these are lower house districts, 100 districts. We want to get to 40. And I think if the numbers are correct, I think we may have just hit the 40 mark this past week. So we're coming on very good. And once again, that is all due to the tremendous outpouring of support that we've received so far this year to Convention of States here in Indiana. Implement a call to action program. We've talked about that over the last few broadcasts. We supported 3 bills in the legislative session, 2021 legislative session. 2 of them passed, and so we're very proud of that record. So we will continue with, of course, with our call to action program, working on now legislation for 2022. Develop and deliver an education program. You're going to be hearing more and more about this. We have a new approach that we're going to implement next month. I'll be telling you about that very, very shortly. So that's where we're going to incorporate an education program. All right. Resources that we have available here in Indiana. The main resource, our national website, conventionofstates.com. Now, embedded in our national website is our state webpage, conventionofstates.com/Indiana. There you'll find some more focused information on Indiana. Facebook, our major social media platform, our state Facebook page, Convention of States Indiana. Our YouTube channel, mentioned that a number of times already, COS Indiana, where we're live streaming. Also very much an educational resource for us. Our legislative liaison, Paul Phillips, does a podcast called the Free to Be Free podcast. And whenever he creates a new podcast, we put a link on the YouTube channel so that you can connect to his podcast. As I mentioned earlier, our new podcast, COS Indiana Live podcast, that will be on. We're trying to set up a way to maybe connect that to the YouTube channel, but haven't figured that out as yet. But that podcast is now available. We're on Parler, we're on Instagram, Twitter, and I also want to mention our state newsletter. And you saw where Susan Lyon, our state newsletter editor, was on the call tonight. So she is and that team is just doing a great, great job with our state newsletter. Now, once you become a supporter and you opt in to receive our emails, you will automatically get this newsletter once a month. And believe me, folks, it is becoming, they are really doing a professional job on this. We're very, very proud of what they're doing. Upcoming events. Now, Gary mentioned this in the interview. Hillside Shooting Sports coming up May 22nd, May 23rd. Buck Creek Township Fire Station 71. Now, that's in Greenfield, Indiana. One of our district captains, Dr. Dan Stock, will be doing a presentation on COVID-19 on June 14th. You'll want to be sure and take that in. Dr. Dan is very, very knowledgeable on this particular topic. As Gary mentioned, Bass and Bucks in Wabash, they are back there on June 19th and June 20th. And now this last one is the virtual roundtable meeting. We started off the year, we were going to try and do quarterly Zoom type roundtable meetings. Well, that didn't work out very well. So we've changed plans, and what we're going to do starting in June is we're going to dedicate the fourth Monday of every month. COS Indiana Live broadcast will be totally dedicated to a roundtable meeting. So you will be hearing more about this as we go forward. As I said, the first one is coming up June 28th, 7 p.m., a normal broadcast time, but it will be totally dedicated to a roundtable meeting. And we'll be telling you and showing you what that format's going to look like. But it will be every month on the fourth Monday of every month. So exciting news coming up. All right, let's wrap it up here in this segment. Next broadcast, May 24th. Going to have another new district captain. Diane Jones is going to be my guest. She is the new district captain for District 81 here in Indiana. Also want to mention to you once again, no broadcast on Memorial Day, May 31st. So keep that in mind. No broadcast on May 31st. All right. Well, I want to come back now and pick up some of the comments that have been made. And I know Jerry has put a few on here. And I think he's referring to what you can find at our national website, conventionofstates.com, frequently asked questions. And he's giving you the link here that you can find where you can find answers to frequently asked questions on our website. And he's also provided the podcast link that I have mentioned earlier, anchor.fm/Dale-Parish and the number 8. So thank you, Jerry, for putting that. Jerry's also pointed out another link here, and I think this is for the pocket guide, which can be, you can secure that off of our major website, our national website, conventionofstates.com. So I think that's all that we have to show there this evening with regard to viewer comments. Now I want to get into the fourth segment this evening of our presentation, and that is the contributors segment. And as I promised you, we have another contribution from John Ackerman, and we always like John's journal. So this will be in the contributors segment coming up right now. Here we go.
John Ackerman again for the Convention of States, Indiana. I saw the cutest little cartoon meme the other day. The headline says, "It's the law of common sense." Right under it is a drawing of 4 people sitting in a wagon with one person pulling that wagon. Now that might work if there's one horse pulling the wagon, but one person pulling 4, and then underneath the drawing it says, if too many people enjoy the free ride and not enough people help pull, the wagon isn't going anywhere. Man, is that ever true. And when our society fosters dependence on government for subsistence checks and for housing assistance and so on, now don't get me wrong, there are some people who need it, okay? But when too many people fall into that trap, we have a problem, a society that isn't going anywhere, a wagon that's stuck, maybe stuck in the mud. Think about that. Yeah. And so every able-bodied person needs to get out of that wagon and help to pull on that rope so that we can carry one another's burdens and help those who really need the help, and so fulfill the law of Christ.
All right, thanks, John. Always enjoy John's journal. That's John Ackerman. Thank you very much, John. All right, let's get into the final segment, the invitation segment, And I always like to lead this segment off with a bit of a video, some type of a video. And this particular one, I think, has become very popular. So let me get right to that.
Talk about Congress. Hey, Congress is full of people who don't know what the hell they're doing, but want to control your lives.
The longer they stay in, the more connected they become to special interests, and special interests are destroying our nation.
They give each other what they want, and they stick the taxpayer with the bill.
What's going to happen to the millennials? Unfunded liabilities plus debt now is $144 trillion.
Politicians come in and say they're going to change it, and they never, ever do.
We're not going to surrender the greatest country on the face of the earth and turn it into another failed European experiment.
The question is today, will we use the Constitution to save the Constitution?
Our framers in particular foresaw that this day would come.
The Peach State is making history. Lawmakers passed a preliminary measure today for a convention of states.
The Missouri House passed a measure calling for a convention of states.
The Convention of States.
The Article 5 Convention of States.
Convention of States.
Convention of States.
Convention of the States.
How does the Convention of States?
Convention of the States.
The Convention of States. Convention of States.
The States Project.
Mark Meckler. Now you run a group trying to build a movement. You're saying the work is being done across this country to get to that 34 state threshold, and whether Washington wants it or not, the people hold a convention to limit the powers of the federal government.
It's right there in Article 5.
Article 5 of the Constitution was included by the founders for this exact time, where Washington would so depart from our principles
That only we, the people, could cut it down to size. So I think it may well take a convention to wake them up.
I've been a longtime supporter of the Convention of States to reestablish the sort of guiding principles of the Constitution.
The Convention of the States empowers the people of America to get some things done that they've long wanted.
By using Article 5 of the Constitution, we can pursue reforms such as a balanced budget amendment.
It's term limits on Congress, term limits on judges, and a balanced budget amendment for America.
Just becoming 11th state to call for a convention to limit federal government power.
The Arkansas House passed a resolution that calls for a convention of states.
30 states, Steve, 30, have either passed it in their state legislature or are actively considering it. So there is a pathway to that number.
There's literally nothing like this has been done in American history.
If you want to put government back in check, it's only going to be us, the people, do it.
And so this is the last chance I think we, the people, have to get back in the control of the constitutional reins of our republic.
Inspire them to make sure that we pass on a better America.
That is the next revolution we need.
No, we have to do this.
Governor Greg Abbott is calling for more states to get on board with a push for a convention of states.
Tomorrow we're going to work to make sure that we add the 13th, 14th, 15th, all the way up to the 34th state.
A year, 10 years, 100 years, whatever it takes.
If the federal government won't do it, then we will.
Go to conventionofstates.com, press the button, sign the...
All right. I know a lot of people like that video, and I've always liked it too, and I think it is very, very, very good. I want to just add just a little bit to it. I'm going to bring up my PowerPoint back up. What that video addresses in a lot of ways is what we call the basics of Convention of States. Now, I'm not going to go into very much detail on this tonight because we're going a little bit over time. But Convention of States is based on three tenets: the problem, the solution, and the plan. And the solution is, we believe, a convention of states for the purpose of proposing amendments to the Constitution. This is described in Article 5 of the Constitution. We're not making this up. Article 5 describes how the Constitution can be amended, and there are two methods. One of the methods is, in fact, to call a convention of states. Requires 34 states to call it. There have been 15 states so far sign on to call this convention, and yes, Indiana is one of those states. We were number 6 to pass the resolution calling for this convention. So, more information, go to our national website, conventionofstates.com, click on the menu selection, resources, and you'll find a wealth of information on the basics of the Convention of States. Also, must mention self-governance. This is very, very important in our program. As we said, it's a constitutional right and a constitutional responsibility. Self-governance, to get involved in our government, be it at the state level, county level, city level, community level. It's so, so important to get involved. Now, I want to ask you to join Convention of States. This is the invitation, folks. Here's what you have to do. Go to our national website, conventionofstates.com. Click on and open an account. That's the very first step. Open an account, sign the petition, and you're now a supporter of Convention of States. Very, very important step. Very key step. Now, if you feel like you have some time and you would like to get more involved, then click on the menu selection, Take Action, scroll down to where it says Become a Leader, and look at the different volunteer opportunities that we have for you. And I might stress one, and that's a district captain. That's a very, very important position, just like with our guest this evening, Gary Ridenauer. Very, very important position. Does require some time. I won't mislead you on that point. And we have positions that require very little time and positions that require more and more time. You're the only one that knows how much time you have to devote to Convention of States. So, but I would encourage you to get involved and to look at becoming a leader with us here in Convention of States. Now, I want to wrap up on one particular note here, and that is, folks, joining Convention of States and joining us in our effort to call this Convention of States. You're going to be making history. Just like Mark Meckler said in the video, this has never been done before. Never been done. That is an Article 5 Convention of States for the purpose of proposing amendments to the Constitution. Now, any amendments that are proposed that come out of this convention would still have to be ratified, go through the same ratification process as any other proposed amendment. That would require 38 states to approve a proposed amendment for it to become an amendment to the Constitution. So still have to go through the ratification process. But calling the Article 5 Convention of States, we would be making history. So we would love to have you join us here. We are going to make this happen, folks. So come on aboard and join us in this movement. So with that, that's a wrap for this evening. We will see you again next Monday evening. And we will have as our guest another new district captain here in Indiana. So folks, sorry we went a little long tonight. Hope that doesn't bother anyone or cause any inconvenience. So that's all I have for you this evening. Good night, everyone. Have a good evening. Bye.